Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Dementia Journey podcast. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Karen Johnson, who is the director of McCormick Dementia Services at McCormick Care Group. And, I can say a lot of really wonderful things about you, Karen. You have shown a great deal of leadership, of vision, of just real compassion when it comes to the people that you serve. And it's been a real pleasure working with you these past almost 5 years now. I can't believe time is going by so fast.
Thank you.
But maybe, Karen, can you share with our audience a little bit about you, how did you come to be the director at McCormick Dementia Services?
Okay. Well, sure, thanks. And also, I really love working with you, Michelle. So it's hard to believe it's only been almost 5 years.
Yes.
So I'm actually a social worker by profession, and prior to being a social worker, I actually was trained as a horticulturist. So I hail from the fabulous province of Alberta with the mountains. I found that with being a professional gardener, basically, plants didn't talk back enough for me. And I'm a very social person, so I went back to school and ended up getting my bachelor's and my master's in social work. I learned very quickly that my passion is working in dementia care and with care partners and older adults. It just jazzes me. I have a long history here at McCormick. I was a social worker part-time in the home and also in the day program. I think it was from 2008 to 2012. And then I ended up going to London Health Sciences for a few years. And then when my predecessor announced her retirement, I banged on the door at McCormick to take me back because every time I'd come back to visit with her, I felt like I was coming home. So, my heart really is in the organization here. And it's a real privilege for me to be in the role that I have because, I get to hopefully use my passion for dementia care for good as much as possible, and hopefully ignite the fire in others for delivering the best care possible for our population.
I was just thinking as you were talking about that, the coming back to McCormick Dementia Services, I know it's a tight-knit community out there in terms of the other organizations who offer supports for individuals living with dementia in the community, and that you're part of a variety of groups. Can you give us an example of some of the committees that you're with? Is it a long list?
It's a long list. It's a long list. Everything from, our, I'm going to say term, sub-regional, like the Southwest Region Adult Day Program Network. So that's leaders from adult day programs throughout the whole Southwest region. I created and co-chaired the Adult Day Services, Ontario Health West Adult Day Services Collaborative. That was something so that's ranging from, that has leaders from day programs from Wellington, Waterloo, Grey Bruce area, Sarnia, like everywhere in the west of the province. So that's a table that I actually created, and I still co-chair that. That's an amazing group. I think we have probably 90 people who are registered for that. And when we hold a meeting, and it's virtually, of course, usually it can be 60 people joining that meeting. So, and that's great for advocacy, sharing information, networking, you name it. That group actually was instrumental in creating documents that helped to guide adult day programs during the pandemic after we all shut down, how to safely reopen, because unlike long-term care, we didn't receive directives from a ministry to tell us, you will do this, you will do that. We had to figure that out on our own. So that was part of that. One of the reasons why I created that large group was to bring in the expertise from all these different adult day programs and creating something that would make it safe for all the individuals that we serve. Honestly, I sit on a lot of tables. I'm a huge advocate for system change, and I love to see McCormick succeed, but I also just as much love to see the success for other organizations that are supporting people living with dementia, care partners, or just individuals who are being supported by other community support services. So we're a tiny but mighty sort of group of community support services. And I think we're a bit of the underdog. I think people don't necessarily realize who we are or what we do, but But we're there.
I would agree that, and I don't know if underdog is the right word, but I understand where you're coming from, because the acute care system seems to be the primary focus of where healthcare dollars go, and even just the political conversation around what do our hospitals or that vein look like. One of the reasons I was so keen to take this role at the foundation on was because I could see that kind of system change that, in the early 2000s that happened in the hospital, the acute care setting. The individuals, the boomers primarily, were entering into an age and stage in their lives where cancer was becoming more prevalent, heart disease was becoming more prevalent, and within the community there was need for more and new technologies and people to help them with these kind of modalities. And what I could see coming down the future was this generation was going to be moving from here and into this long-term care, and knowing that dementia is continuing to become more prevalent in our lives. Recognizing that was going to be a reality, it seems to me that, back to what you were talking about, to be the change within the system, to advocate for those kind of changes because of what you see on the front lines. What I 100% agree with that, but at the same time, government dollars can only go so far. And that's why, from a philanthropic perspective, I could see that, donors in our community were really looking to help support those that they love, or recognizing that this is where they may be someday too. Mm-hmm. And when they get there, they want it to be ready and in the best possible condition it can be in. And when I think about some of the projects over the past few years that you and I have worked together on to raise monies for, all of these are really with a lens of transforming care in the here and now. And I shared with you just before we got chatting, I'm pleased to share that the Ritz Gala in the last 4 years, this is about to be our 5th, but we've raised about $577,000, and that's a net number. And so that is a testament to the level of commitment and support and care that our community has for caring for dementia and for long-term care. And they view McCormick as a leader in this space. And some of those projects that we've worked on, I wanted to maybe just chat a little bit about it with you, because I think it's important for people who have donated to some of these components know we actually spent the money and we put it to good use.
We did.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so maybe let's start with our very first project that we worked on together. And I remember it really well. You and I hadn't even been with the organization probably for not even 6 months. And I said, so what are you thinking about? What's going on? And you came and said, we have a day spa, but it's really a tub room.
Yeah. And
what do you think about? And then, of course, together collaborating with Steve, CEO of McCormick Care Group, getting the full buy-in of what that could look like. So maybe share with everyone the why and the what happened.
Yeah. So it's funny when you mention about the baby boomers, and I remember in back in the day when I was doing my undergrad and my master's, thinking, wow, like dementia care has to change, because the baby boomers are they have a voice, and it's it's going to be more than 2 baths a week and da 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 da, and so what I find interesting is now as we are starting to see we haven't changed a ton in some areas, but the spa for me was a really good example of if we're going to call it a spa, it's going to look like a spa. It's not going to be a tub room from 2006. So,
but there's more reasons other than aesthetics as to why it's got to be.
I'm leading up to this.
Good. Yeah.
So it's also dementia friendly. So when it was originally designed, it was designed as a very functional tub room, and But as research has happened over the years, we've realized that, there are things that more modifications than we thought need to happen to environments for people who have dementia. So we...
so what does that mean exactly?
Yeah, so just to let people know, in our day program, individuals can actually have a bath at the day program, or they can have a shower, and there's a small fee attached to that. And for some of our clients, that's the only time they have a bath, is that 1 or 2 days a week they come to the day program. That's when they get to have a bath, probably, and it could be because their care partner at home can't get them into the tub, can't get them into the shower, or isn't able to.
It's like you were reading my mind. I was about to ask you, why would that be? And you,
yeah,
and
so what we had is we would always say to people, to clients, we would say, okay, well, you're going to go and have a spa day today. You're going into the spa, and they'd open up the door and be like, I'm not going in there. That's not a spa. That's a tub room, and it looks worn, but things were also causing behaviors. So, for example, the floor was blue and it had little silver flecks in it. And some of the clients, so not a lot of people realize, but people with dementia often, like a fair number of people, end up with visual spatial issues.
Right.
So they will misperceive things in their environment. So some of our clients, they would look at the floor, and to them, it would look like it had 6 inches of water on it.
Oh.
And they would refuse to come into the room. So that's one. So that was one thing we had to change for sure, was the flooring. The toilet, from a staff and client safety perspective, we shifted the sort of the direction of the toilet, so it was facing more out, not just against a wall. But we also, if you see the toilet, it looks like a reverse Oreo. So white toilet, black seat, white lid. And the reason, again, is for that visual spatial issue. First of all, I want to give people, men, a place to aim, because if it's all white, they may actually not see it.
Right.
May not see the toilet.
Yeah.
Or just a place they'll know, like, it's something you recognize. Like, we've all sat on, like, think of all the toilets with black seats and from, years and years ago, whatever.
I thought it was a practical cleaning component, but
yeah. And then having the white lid on top, and this is where I had to, convince the contractors. I was like, no, don't put the black lid with the toilet. I need a white one. And they were making fun of me, and I had to explain, if there is a black lid and we put it down and we have a client who needs to sit down suddenly, or they want to rest, they may actually think we're trying to put them in a hole.
Wow.
So that's how, honestly, the misperceptions happen. So there's the toilet. We have this beautiful mirror with a screen that we can pull down, because we have a lot of people with dementia that they don't recognize themselves. And so that can result in either they really hate that person who's in the bathroom with them. What are they doing there? Or, man, they've just met their best friend again and we can't get them away from the mirror for 20 minutes.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So we have that. We have a television, so we can play the client's favorite music, so it's calming. We have a faux skylight, so we can adjust the lighting. Everything is for infection prevention and control practices, top drawer, good. Everything is tucked away behind cabinetry, custom cabinetry, wiped out. And that really became a big thing because of the pandemic. We really had to make things as safe as possible for a variety of reasons. We have a towel warmer, a blanket and towel warmer. So everyone who has a dip in the tub, our beautiful tub that looks like it came out of a spa itself, looks a little less institutional, and people get a nice warm towel when they get out. So it's just it's aesthetically gorgeous. It really is, but it's also, from a dementia perspective, so functional. And even the screen, I hate curtains, but so we have this beautiful screen that you can just pull across. So it's
more like a wall.
Yeah, like a moving wall. And that, in my mind, I'm like, why can't people living with dementia get to enjoy a spa like that? Just because you have dementia doesn't mean you have to go into a tub room. Let's have you, you know what? Have a spa day. You deserve it.
Yeah.
So that was a biggie for our
right off the hop.
I know. What were we thinking?
I think about that and the individuals who I've spoken with who have, donated towards it and who supported, and a lot of the rationale was the experience at home couldn't be as good, if in fact it could happen at all, and they knew then that their loved one was getting the care they needed from that personal perspective. And and a lot of people I also talk to, they say, I don't know what happens. I know I talk to these people here, and my person is happy to go, and they're happy to come home. And in between it all, they're more talkative, they're more engaged, and they just feel good. So
yeah, we have people that they'll go home at the end of the day. They can't tell their person what they did, but they know they had a really good day.
Yeah.
And it's incredible when we hear from some of our care partners when they say, you know what, thanks for giving my mom back.
Aww.
Like she can actually, for about an hour when she gets home, she's talking, and normally she can't string a sentence. So yeah.
So that's the impact of the socialization factor, is it? Yes.
Yeah, the socialization. And, there's such a stigma of dementia. I'm not going to get it. This is a whole other podcast topic, the stigma of dementia. But, we're so afraid to have a diagnosis of dementia. And because we have this perception, we've been raised and it's just through so many different means, told how bad dementia is. And when you have dementia, you get the diagnosis, your life is done. And our philosophy is no, you have a life to live and you can live it really well. And no, you don't have to be socially isolated. It's okay to come to a place where, you know what? Who cares if you've forgotten the rules of a game? Who cares if you've forgotten the name of the person sitting beside you? We all wear name tags. So, there's just, so we humanize our clients, and the staff are just, they establish these phenomenal relationships with every client, regardless of who they are, what form of dementia they have, and what stage of their disease process they're at.
Well, I think that sums the day program up really well, but it also speaks to why the spa and the idea behind everybody deserves to have a spa day fits into that whole philosophy as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to segue into our second project that we worked on together, and talking about the social isolation. And this next project came about because of the pandemic, and I'm thinking now about the social isolation that was occurring through the pandemic. And that was the creation of the virtual learning lab. Maybe you can share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so because at McCormick Dementia Services, we have the day program, but we also have social work supports, so for the families and care partners. And when we shut down the day program in the pandemic, it was devastating for so many people because they just lost their respite, they lost their personal time. We had clients that they didn't get to see their friends. So we really had to figure out how are we going to continue to support our population in a way that's safe and it's going to be engaging. So our pivot was to offer virtual supports, and that was virtual recreation. So where we literally created a website, a part of our website, and we put on resources. We had regular scheduled recreation programming. So where a rec staff would be doing exercises every day with clients, and we could see them on Zoom. It was really, and what was so incredible is we created this actual community. We thought the exercise was for clients, but we found that caregivers were actually joining in and doing the exercises with their person, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And then they got to be friends with other participants. Because there was and so the rec staff would log in, and you'd already, there's caregivers. Oh, there's Bob and Sue. Hi, Bob and Sue. And it was just wow. It was one of those silver linings that,
Right.
that came out of the pandemic was this virtual community. And then we had our supports for care partners. So our social workers had to, they are amazing at Zoom. They're way better at it than I am. They can do breakout rooms and everything. But so doing support groups, providing support groups online. And that has just been amazing because we can have people from all across the province joining in. So just so people know, we were the first organization in Canada to offer a support group for caregivers of someone with frontotemporal dementia. So this was many, many years ago. So we have that. And so we actually have people from all across Canada, or not Canada, sorry, but across Ontario, who join that support group still. Like,
wow.
and we wouldn't have been able to offer that resource because there aren't frontotemporal dementia caregiver support groups everywhere. It's very unique. Same thing, our Lewy body and Parkinson's disease dementia support group. That, again, is not offered everywhere. So we do specialize in the other forms of dementia. So again, a silver lining was we can offer this service to so many more people. Our reach is broader.
Yeah.
And you know,
on that note, I had a few individuals reach out to me on LinkedIn who were not in the London area and said, Michelle, I see you're now with McCormick, and this is my situation. Where they have a parent. Others had, anyways, they have a situation, and is there anything that you can help with? And anyways, I was able to provide them a few links, and I know they were able to leverage those kind of virtual supports, you know, in the broader Ontario landscape. So that was really powerful.
Yeah. So I think when we have the tools, then it's almost like the sky's the limit. So we had to use virtual technology, and so we had this really beautiful investment through that one Ritz event. So we have these spaces now with high-end, you know, audio visual equipment, and so like we have photos of rec staff doing drumming, you know, and it's beautiful because you've got the big screen, you've got the cameras, everyone can see and hear really well. We've also been able to provide webinars. Almost every month we have a special speaker that provides a topic that we're able to share again across the province. You know, when we have Dr. Elizabeth Finger who presents an updates on frontotemporal dementia. Wow, like that's a huge draw. Like check out our views on that. Oh my gosh. So
I was just going to ask. So I think most of these are on your YouTube channel, if I'm not mistaken. So we can put a link to those below so that people can, you know, if they're listening and thinking, well, how do I get those supports? This is they can get it.
So I always, you know, if people want some of those specialized support groups, then you know we're a good resource to potentially support.
Right. And so our next project, this was a really big idea, it feels like to me. But I feel like it was a really big idea in your mind for a really long time.
Yeah.
And so maybe share with us.
Yeah,
more.
so McCormick Mobile. So there was a number of staff. We all had this varying sort of ideas of how to bring the day program to people in the community, like literally in their homes. How do we give more tools to care partners? And because our landscape right now is care partners have so much expected of them. They have to be a nurse, they have to be a personal support worker, they have to be a recreation specialist. Oh, and maybe a social worker too. So they should know how to, you know, communicate and do self-care and everything. How many people have all those trainings under their belt?
It would seem to me that they still also have the relationship with their person, whether it's a wife, a husband, a child,
right.
How do you perform all of those duties?
Exactly. And if you aren't all these things, then you know what, your person may end up having a fall, they may end up going to the emergency department, or you know what, maybe you're gonna have a stroke or a heart attack, or something's gonna happen to you, and now what's gonna happen to your person?
Wow, that's a pretty scary thought.
It really is.
All of them.
And you know, our historic I think investments are sort of downstream thinking, like with our government. It's more of we're looking at hospitals and you know, we have always desperately needed money for long-term care. So I'm so happy that that funding is happening. But adult day programs, we're upstream thinking. So we're preventative. We actually don't want people to land in the emergency department. You know, so there are certain services that we can do, socialization, flagging people with health issues, all these things. And anyways, I'm digressing. The reason McCormick Mobile is...
Well, that's the first we've actually said what the project is. So,
sorry.
Yeah.
so McCormick Mobile, we want to give the tools to the care partners. We wanted to take the expertise from the day program and give it to the care partners. We also want to try a type of training or a type of education that's really novel, hasn't been done before. And we've done a fair amount of caregiver education here. And I don't think anyone has really landed on the silver bullet.
Right.
So this model is using specific staff from the day program, RPN, registered practical nurse, a personal support worker, a social worker, and a recreation specialist. Each one is going to spend a couple of visits in a week to go and into a care partner's home and actually train the care partner using the person that they care for. Wow. So it is unique, tailored, intensive training with that care partner, with their person. So
it's like one-on-one.
It is.
Yeah.
It totally is. And we actually have a workbook, a McCormick Mobile Care Partner workbook. So, and it has highlights, tips and tricks and gives a little bit more information. It's also goal setting. So it isn't just, we're going to just blah, 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 blah to you, and then we're going to leave. It's, no, actually, this is the plan. So what we see are, here's some strengths that you already show. Here's some areas we want you to grow.
Right.
And so, you know, that's developed together. And then
when you say develop together, what do you mean by that?
So the staff member, along with the care partner, they'll determine, okay, so what's your confidence in providing a one-person transfer to your person to move, say, from a bed to a wheelchair or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's determined together. It's not our staff coming in and saying, you need to do this because I'm seeing this. It's together determining, okay, like, let's figure out what do you want to learn?
Yeah, that's perfect.
And so we have this workbook, and then we also have videos that are going to be accessible for people who receive this training. So the videos have actually, you know, they're all completed. With the workbook, if you're looking at it digitally, you click a link, boom, video comes up. So it's kind of like the reason we did this. So we're doing one-to-one training. Yeah. We have the workbook, and then we have the video. Imagine you're learning a new recipe, and someone says, okay, here's your recipe, and I've just talked to you about it, and I've just done it for you real quick, or we've done this together real quick, and tomorrow I want you to do this on your own. Do you have this?
Oh, I get to keep this. Okay. I thought you were going to take it away.
No, you have that. That's your workbook. But you know what? Like, how important is it to see something again?
Oh, yes, of course.
So hence we have these 1.5 to 2 minute videos, these how do you safely transfer someone? How do you bathe someone who has dementia?
It's like the reminder. It's like the,
yeah,
it's the follow-up.
I always watch videos on recipes if I'm trying something new that's complicated. So it's kind of like the same thing. So it's a 6 week training, and we're wrapping it up in research. So we've partnered with some researchers from Western, and we want to evaluate the effectiveness of this training because
And so once it's evaluated, I'm sort of maybe putting the cart in front of the horse here, but it just seems like such a practical idea, such a good idea on so many fronts. So a couple questions. How many people are part of this? Because it's a study right now. It's just a pilot project. Yeah. How many people are a part of this pilot project right now? Yeah,
so there will be 10. We're literally just at the gate right now to do this. So it'll be 10 care partners. So 5 of them will be having their person will attend our day program, and the other 5, they will be on our wait list for the day program.
That's an interesting then comparison to see what that.
Well, yeah, I mean, we also we recognize that some of these people have been on our wait list for 1.5 years.
Oh,
And they need the support just as much as someone who's already attending the day program.
right.
And many of these people actually need it more. So we wanted to make sure that we offered this opportunity to the whole group. So.
I think, having said all of that, I should probably ask, because, thinking some individuals listening might be thinking, why didn't they ask me? How could I participate? I would like to.
Yeah. No, thank you. So it is because it's research, we had to put parameters around inclusion and exclusion criteria. So we wanted to, for this, because it is a pilot project,
Right.
We are just going to focus on those who are engaged with McCormick at this time. But there will be a call, like we will announce when we are going to be recruiting for the study. So
Amazing. And so now I'm coming back to the cart in front of the horse, and that is, do you think, on the assumption that this is going to prove to be a good model, something that is going to, what is the hope, I guess, at the end of the day for this?
Yeah, you know what? The hope is this is going to reduce the number of care partners who make that difficult decision and say, I can't do this anymore. I can't. And they go and they take their person to the emergency department and they drop them off because they are so burnt out. So I'm going to cry.
I know, me too. Yeah.
But it's horrible, but it happens.
Like, I can only imagine how overwhelming it would be.
Like, it's horrible. It's really horrible. And we need to be investing in there aren't enough staff in home care. There aren't enough personal support workers. There aren't enough nurses. There aren't enough rec people. There aren't enough of those people to go and provide care in people's homes, even though that is where people want to live. And from an economic perspective, it's actually cheaper for people to stay living in the community versus moving into long-term care and sure as heck moving or ending up in a hospital.
Right.
So it really behooves us to, we have to come up with novel solutions, and we have to demonstrate that we are upstream thinking. We are giving tools to care partners to take care of this person in their home, in the community, saving the system money. It breaks my heart every time I find out a care partner has had a heart attack or a stroke because they're just so stressed out and they don't take care of themselves. We had a care partner, he actually delayed his getting a new hip for 2 years.
Wow.
Because there was no one to care for his wife. There was no one to care for his wife after he was recovering. And our services were restricted at the time because of the pandemic, but that's not the only example. We have a number of care partners that they delay their own health because of having to be a caregiver.
I think it's, part and parcel of how, it's part of that aging population. And if it's a spouse, they're of the same age and one may not have dementia, but have other, as you mentioned, challenges. Wow. It's like my heart breaks for these individuals. And when McCormick Mobile was first discussed, it made, again, it's one of these other projects that makes so much sense to think about. Yes, we need to give these people the knowledge and the education and the skills and the all of those things to be able to just cope on a day-to-day basis. I guess I'm trying to really, and you could probably do it better. It's one thing for us to sit here and talk about it, but it's another thing for individuals in the community to live with it every day and 24 hours a day, so 365 days.
And you just twigged in my brain, like one of my reasons why I brought McCormick Mobile to you is care partners, when they have their person come to our day program for 1 or 2 or 3 days a week, that's their time. So they get to get groceries, they get to maybe have a nap, they get to do all the things that they can't normally do.
Haircut, whatever.
Things are great, those days when their person's at the day program. And what really freaks me out is for some of these care partners, when they're so stressed, how are they managing when their person is at home with them? And all I could think of was, okay, so for those few days where they're in our service, that care partner's in a good space. And then what's the rest of the week like?
Yeah.
And knowing like a lot of them are struggling, especially we have seen the level of care just increase because of the pandemic. People not getting socialization, not getting as much exercise, not getting as much services. There's a whole list of different factors, but the level of care required. We had clients, when we shut down the day program, I think we were shut down for 2.5 months. We had people who, when we reopened, so from 85 people per weekday coming to the day program, and we reopened to 2 people per weekday for the first month, we noticed a drastic decline in some of the clients. So just being in their homes, not being able to get out for 2.5 months because of the pandemic, it was heartbreaking.
And what does drastic decline look like?
We had one client who she lived independently, and because she wasn't coming to see us, she wasn't getting the cognitive stimulation. Like you could talk to her probably for about 10 minutes and not realize that there was something going on. When she came back, she had lost a ton of weight because she wasn't getting regular meals. She wasn't having her medications managed. She wasn't getting, the social stimulation to like, we need that social stimulation for cognitive function.
Yeah.
Exercise. Like, it was people, we would see their memories were worse, language skills would decrease. Like, it was pretty heartbreaking sometimes when we had clients come through our doors, and it was just like, oh, you could see it. So, yeah.
So your hope for McCormick Mobile, what if you do you have it like a, obviously, providing these services, we'll understand from the research component of it, the impact of it.
Yeah.
But I think you have a pretty good sense of how powerful it's going to be in the community.
So we're going to be looking at caregiver competence, confidence, burden. We want to see decrease in caregiver burden, but then also that increase in competence and confidence and skills in providing care for the person that they're caring for. So, and if we can demonstrate that, wow, like this makes a difference, then maybe we can move this forward for, either future grants or even maybe funding from the ministry. That would be my ultimate goal.
I think it's a perfect example of how philanthropy can really transform care and move things in a new way. Thank you. So maybe just a quick update for those that supported McCormick Mobile, the current status of where that's at.
Yeah, so we're like right there at the gate, pretty much. So the videos have been done, the workbooks are done. We have a team that's all arranged. They've been busy working on, there's all this background stuff like policies, procedures, things like that. So the
boring stuff.
Yeah, so
but the important stuff.
Yeah, so they've been doing that. And just, hammering out the different assessments that they're going to be doing when they're working with the caregiver. Like a social worker will be going in and doing their assessments. And so there's all of this background stuff that actually was very time consuming. We're almost done that. So, and then we're just working on the ethics. So once we have the ethics, we're good
ready
to go.
Well, you know what? I think all of those, all those fundamentals, it is the foundation. And without those strong foundation, then the program wouldn't be strong. So I know how much work it was and how much the entire team, your team, put into that. And I just want to give a shout out to them.
Oh, thanks. They're amazing.
Thanks, team.
Thank you, team.
Really, because I know they see the positive attributes in this kind of program as well, and they wanted to make it happen. But a lot of people put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to make it all come together.
Yes.
Again, this was a little bit on the corner of their desk kind of piece.
Yeah.
So last year, we raised funds for Care Partner videos. And maybe you can just give us a little insight on that.
Yeah. So,
and maybe if you can help articulate what's different between the Care Partner videos and the McCormick Mobile videos, or can they be interchanged, or anyway, I'll let you.
Yeah. Okay. So when the pandemic hit and we shut down and we moved to virtual supports for care partners and people living with dementia, we created a library of videos. We called them. It's like our little home jobby. Like it was, with a tablet and the microphone with the cord, but it was basically because we knew that very few people were going in and helping people in their homes. Like it was even home care. It was a struggle for some of them to go into people's homes. And some people, we had a family. They didn't even leave their apartment for 2 months.
Wow.
So what we did is we created these videos on how to create nutritional smoothies. How do you transfer someone? How do you bathe someone? How do you assist someone with medications? All these things. And it was very much when we were closed and our staff were very creative, people who normally wouldn't stand in front of a camera and try and teach someone, they did a really great job. But, we felt, and some of these videos have gotten a lot of views. So we thought, wouldn't it be great if we had something elevated, if we actually had really professional videos, instead of having one that's 8 minutes, can be compressed down to 1.5 minutes. Because here's the other thing. Care partners don't have a lot of time to watch videos. They don't. And sometimes it's at 2 a.m. because that's the only time they have.
Oh, and they need the information now.
Right. So we needed something that was going to be more effective and really professional and just, I think, more thought out and planned.
Can you give me an idea of like what kind of things would these what would these videos be about? Like what kind of, so I think about individuals who maybe don't know a lot about dementia and like, why would you need a video on smoothies and why, Yeah. So potentially depending on the type of dementia, some people will develop food preferences or habits with eating. So like sometimes the only food that they'll eat is a boost or a smoothie, or they will refuse medications, or just that their swallowing might change. So so that's an example where we're going to teach you how to make something that's really nutritious. You can sneak stuff in there that's really nutritious for your person. I know one of the videos that, and the videos that we have filmed, we actually have filled them. They wrapped up the filming of them 2 weeks ago. We got feedback from some care partners, our care partner council, actually. Yeah.
They looked at the topics of videos that we'd already done, and they said, yeah, this is a great one. That one should be made more professional. And hey, what about this idea? And things like, how do I assess my person? Okay, if my person falls, how do I safely assess them? And do I need to call 911?
Oh, what a great idea.
Because falls happen.
Yes.
Like, it's not uncommon. And so that's one of the things that we're putting forward is, how do you safely assess your person? Because we have, unfortunately, we do have the odd fall in our own day program. Staff do the same thing. Right. So they will assess. So
before you're just trying to yank somebody up off the ground or making sure that you're doing it safely.
And, like maybe you don't need an ambulance, like depending on the situation.
Right.
Because if you call an ambulance, it might be a while before one comes. So anyways,
I'm sorry. I'm going to share a funny moment with you. I'm thinking about my in-laws, and there was a time. So we know my mother-in-law had a form of dementia, but my father-in-law insisted on doing everything, and he was going above and beyond to compensate for what she wasn't doing anymore, and so he was getting worn out. And this one time, she wanted something, but whatever reason, he decided he was going to help her where he shouldn't, and he was trying to get on a ladder, and he fell into a bush. And I only laugh about it now because they had to call 911. But he had to wait a while in that bush because they couldn't get him out. Now, he had a great sense of humor, so he laughed it off. But yeah, that would have been helpful.
And also, just we found that with McCormick Mobile, the videos in that were very, I would say, like activities of daily living. So how do you bathe someone? How do you change an incontinence product? How do you, support someone with, helping them with eating? so with the care partner videos that we've just done, actually a few of them are regarding meaningful activities. So how do you adapt activities in the home to engage your person? Because that's the other thing, you know, we need stimulation, and people with dementia aren't able to do the things they used to do just as it was. But if you modify things, they can be very successful.
Right.
But care partners aren't generally like attuned to thinking that way of, well, you know, we can just modify this, we can change, or you know what, this card game, instead of playing, I don't know, cribbage, why don't we play war?
Right.
You know, let's not war. You know what I mean?
Yes, I understand. It's a simplified game version.
Yeah, like so there's just, so we have, I would say, more breadth and variety in the videos that have been produced, which is going to then, yes, it will be a part of McCormick Mobile down the road, because we're going to use the current videos that we have for McCormick Mobile. They'll be in that pilot study.
Yeah.
But certainly whatever people need for their education experience, they will have access to all of them. So
yeah, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, all that to say, you know, I'm now, and maybe I'll ask you to just take a moment, because, you know, we're always so busy looking to the future. What's next? What's next? What's next? And sometimes we don't take a moment to just stop and pause and think about what we accomplished. And when you think about these types of projects, how does that make you feel?
Really good. I'm really grateful, because I know that it was a huge investment. You know, a lot of people donated money, a lot of money, but it makes me feel heartened to know that we are there to support people in so many different ways. Like, we are more than just a day program.
Right.
You know, we are more than just caregiver support. So, and we have so much expertise here in our walls, in between all our walls. Why are we keeping it just here? Like, it needs to go out.
Right.
So these are the tools. What we've been given are the ways that we are helping. We are really driving, you know, our supports, our expertise, everything outside the building.
Yeah.
And so if we can just stop one person from landing in the emergency department, that's amazing. But I would love for it to be more. And whatever we can do to help the system, again, that's what we should be doing.
Yeah. Well, Karen, I want to say thanks for joining me today. I know this is sort of our part one of two-part video talking about the Ritz Gala and some of the projects that it's funding. And you and I are going to regroup with Lisa, the administrator from McCormick Home, to talk about our next fundraising project for the Ritz Gala. And I think it is as innovative and as thoughtful and as, I can't even find all the words I'm trying to say.
It's exciting. It is so exciting. Like,
yes.
Like, really.
And all of these things, it makes me feel a great sense of pride about McCormick in terms of their leadership position. And I really do believe that the talent within McCormick, the ideas, the innovation, the thought leadership, all of these things, McCormick can do so much for not just our community or those that we're currently serving, but for Ontario. But I think we're trailblazing a new path here, thinking differently. As you were talking, you know, like we're working more. Is it upstream? Is that the right way? As opposed to trying to work downstream. And so that, with that kind of thinking, and with the community support that we have, we can do really great things. And I'm super excited about being a part of that. If I can just help facilitate just a little bit of it, I'm really excited about it too. So exciting is a really good word.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all the support. And I'm extremely grateful for all the donors who have believed in our causes and you know, have our backs.
Well, you and I, you know, we we obviously know a few of the same folks, but I hear it time and again. McCormick is a little gem that nobody seems to really know much about. Mm-hmm. And even as you were talking here, I found myself thinking, wow, that is a whole other podcast. Whether it's stigma of dementia, that can be one, but also just what McCormick Dementia Services do. I mean, you touched high level on a whole bunch of things, but our purpose today was to share with people their donations have led to some real accomplishments and some really amazing work being done that without their support wouldn't be happening. As we know, and I think I said earlier, this is how I think philanthropy can change the system, because the donors can help us get to it first. Yeah. And then when we can prove to the government that there are better ways of doing things, then that's the way we need to keep moving it forward. And that's why I think McCormick has the power to do really great things. So again, thank you, Karen, for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we really appreciate all your support. And so for those of you who are interested in the Ritz Gala, you can check out our website. And I should let you know that it's happening on May 2nd at the London Hunt and Country Club. And we're currently, last I looked, I don't know what we're at right now, but we were 58% sold out. And by the time this airs, that number is probably going to be a little bit higher as well. So I encourage you to call if you are looking for tickets, and they don't seem to be available on the website. But anyways, thank you everyone for your support. Thank you, Karen, for joining us.
Thanks,
and have a great night, everyone.